Hello, and welcome to another series where I'll be playing Crusader Kings 3 using the hardest possible rule set, starting as a landless adventurer who is stewardship focused in 867. Specifically, this gentleman right here. As you can see, he is within the achievement limits. I'll start by talking about the rule set. We'll start some gameplay. I'll talk about the 867 start date, and then talk a bit about how I picked this character. For our game rules, we'll be playing the standard Hell mode rules I've used in the past. We have Iron Man enabled. I won't be doing any birding or restarting, rebooting my computer, and now that I've started recording commentary, I will not be restarting the game. Whatever happens here, bad, good, any mistakes I made, I'll do my best to play through them. We are on very hard difficulty. It gives a whole range of advantage to the AI while penalizing the player. AI gets more gold, gets cheaper men-at-arms, gets cheaper mercenaries, cheaper buildings. For the player, gets significant disadvantages and hostile schemes. Also, AI vassals are much more rebellious against the player while also being more obedient to an AI ruler. Another major factor of difficulty, probably the most important one here, is with conquerors. We're playing with increased conquerors, every single one of whom will have scourge-of-the-gods, making them vastly more powerful than we are, especially at the 867 date. We are playing on Doomsday plague frequency, the highest possible, with unlimited random black deaths. Going through some of these rules here, you can see that legends, very expensive, very low chance of spreading, and they're limited. So we won't be able to abuse legends the way you could in a normal game. Realm stability, lesser. So again, that's another level of additional factions against us. One of the other most important changes, -3 domain limit for the player only, so we'll be making significantly less gold, have less places to station our men-at-arms. Really one of the most harmful, challenging rule changes here. Here, since we're in 867, we always play with this, but now it's actually important, which is the Scandinavian adventures will be apocalyptic. They'll be coming all the time, almost every 5 years, along the coast of Britannia and northern France. In addition to all these official rules, there'll be one unofficial, unwritten rule I'll be following, which is I will not become a conqueror myself. This is because being a conqueror just changes the game so much, and also if I could become a conqueror, then the optimal strategy in every single case is to become landless and go for the decision that allows you to become a conqueror, which would be less interesting in terms of the series. We've done that. See our character here. We will start. So I will want people skilled in stewardship. The reason we're doing that is our camp purpose is going to be scholars. So looking for stewardship and learning contracts. I'll do my sort of standard setup here. I will pin myself. When I get a wife, when I get children, I will also pin them because I want to be able to look at myself, immediately see my health. Same for my wife, for my children. I want to make sure we're educating them. For our lifestyle, we're 4-star stewardship. Unsurprisingly, we're going to go for the stewardship focus. Really looking here to go high stakes bartering first and then see how it's done, get as much gold as we can. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Activities, I will pin all these activities. Really looking to take more advantage of camp revelry in particular. We will wait till we have done a few contracts and get some gold. Again, this one we are not going to be taking. We will not try to become a great conqueror. All these others are up for grabs here. So go ahead and pin them so they can be available. Particularly this one found a holding. Hopefully we will be using that a lot. That's the goal. We're talking about this. Visit castle holding is also something we'll certainly be using quite a bit. So again, I just like pinning everything so that I plan on using, so it's up here and I can take a look at it immediately, and I don't take the risk of forgetting it. So if there's anything else we need to do here? No. Okay. And so in terms of our gameplay here, we're going to be doing the standard landless adventure gameplay loop, where we are going to be visiting holding, basically doing everything you can in the holding. Starting with, we want to get more contracts if we can. Again, we're stewardship. Secondary with learning, so we want as many stewardship contracts as we can get. Already at supply, so nothing to do there. Check out the locals in the tavern. Always try to hear a story. Normally speaking, we're going to go with this top option here that can give you a permanent increase in one of your skills. If not that, it'll give you a temporary increase or some learning, or sorry, some other lifestyle experience. All useful. The other options here, could do hostile looter. I think if we do grand tournaments, we'll pick that up that way. The great story, there are other ways to lose stress. It's just not as good as going for these either skill point or lifestyle increases. See who's up for recruitment. Are any of them free? Yes, this gentleman is free. Sometimes early on, when you start out as an adventurer, you can get someone to join you for free. Almost always worth doing. This guy has okay stewardship, good learning. We will definitely take him. Now we're done in the tavern. We will go to the castle. So this third option here isn't often available. It's usually a way to recruit someone. We can either take the chance or there's sort of a coin flip here, or just pay the 15 gold. 15 gold is very little. While we are not swords for hire, we're not going to be focused on martial or prowess contracts. You can see that this guy is simply an amazing commander, and also very strong knight. We certainly want him to come with us. We'll just pay the 15 gold. Even if he doesn't have the greatest stewardship and learning, he's still another person, and we may end up doing some martial or prowess contracts later, particularly ones involving righteousness that will get us advances here in terms of the Knight of the Swan, and so the character we just recruited here, this guy, will be very useful in that. See if these guys are worth recruiting for their cost. Maybe not. Because we're going to be scholars, we don't need to have a huge camp. Don't need a ton of knights the way you would normally expect if you were being a sword for hire. So we don't need to recruit everyone that we can, but we do want to take a look to see what's available. I don't think we need to increase our prowess now. Rather get some money saved up and see what we can do. In terms of our camp here, the first thing we want to build is a baggage train. not so much for the baggage train itself, but it has some very useful sub-buildings under it that will increase the amount we get from stewardship and learning contracts. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. Beyond that, we're just going to be looking for whatever sort of stewardship learning contracts we can get and go from there. So this one, it's a learning contract. I think it looks good. Try to tutor these children. Probably don't need a caravan master yet, but I do think let's get a personal physician. It says he's poor. Thought hopefully he'd be a little bit better than that. That's okay. And we'll proceed on with doing these contracts. Here, just looking for the highest chance of success. All right, so now that we've started this loop, let's talk a bit about 867 and playing on this rule set, the hardest possible rule set of CK3, unmodded. And so this is our 7th series here. It's the first one where I'm playing in 867, and the reason for that is simply because I think 867 is the most challenging start date to play with using the hardest possible rule set. So why is that? Well, the big factor is that as the player playing on the hardest possible rule set, what you really need to do is build up your economy and then build up your military using all the economy that you've built. The issue is that usually depends on having good innovations, and in 867 you just don't have many innovations. Often you'll be limited to simply having 2 or 3 building slots in each domain and only being able to build up to 2 levels of buildings. Just doesn't provide you with a whole lot of income. For those who've watched my prior videos, you often see that my final turning point is when I'm in the high Middle Ages and I get guilds and windmills for my economy, and then also get the men-at-arms innovation that allows me to significantly increase my military power. But we can't reach the high Middle Ages until 1050. And so before then, we're going to have to be playing with a much more limited economic capacity, much more limited military potential. And this affects the player much more than the AI, because the AI has those benefits that we just saw in terms of playing on very hard, and scourge conquerors get gold pretty much for free. People, if you've ever been a conqueror, you'll see people just offer you gold, and you also get 5 gold a month from being a conqueror. And so the conquerors don't have to build up their economy as much, don't have to build up their buildings. They can just rely on whatever they're getting in terms of those benefits from being a conqueror. And same way with the AI. The AI is also going to be, even says to say non-conqueror AI will still be getting more gold, and so they don't have to rely as much as building up their economy. They'll still be getting gold that way. And so starting at 867 gives them an advantage compared to the player. And so this is what the concern is, where the challenge comes from. And so realistically, I always say that my goal is to become indisputably the most powerful realm on the planet, but doing that is going to be very difficult before 1050. And so we basically have to play for over 200 years, really, usually to be able to say, hey, we're the most powerful realm on the planet. And that's 200 years of having to, pacify, strategize against, dodge, scourge conquerors, which can be very challenging over that period of time. When you start in 1066, 1178, the path toward the start date and becoming powerful enough to challenge scourge conquerors is much, much shorter. So here I was doing some camp revelry. You can often get free buildings, other benefits. Didn't get them there. That's okay. I'm going to visit the castle holding again. Other thing about playing in 867, which is very important for Europe, which is where we're starting, is that the HRE does not exist, as I'm sure you can see here. And that's important because scourge conquerors, when they attack, they have a unlimited kingdom level casus belli, so they just spam attack kingdoms over and over again. But as powerful as scourge conquerors are, they still obey the rules of war and diplomacy. Specifically, they will obey any sort of, oh my, that's too bad she's 45. If she were younger, she'd make a great wife. I think I'll pass on her though. Okay, back to scourge conquerors. They obey the rules of law and diplomacy, meaning that they will obey all truces. I don't think I've ever seen a scourge conqueror or the AI generally ever break a truce. So that means scourge conqueror attacks someone, they take a kingdom, and then for 5 years there's a truce, and you can, the person that's attacked, can just look and see what's going on, try to pacify the scourge conqueror, whatever. And the Holy Roman Empire consists of, I think it's like 6 or 7 different kingdoms. And so when you're playing in 1066, 1178, if you're in Europe, you can see a scourge conqueror appears. They'll attack the Holy Roman Empire, but then they can't attack it again for another 5 years, generally speaking, unless they have the flexible truces perk. So they have to go somewhere else. And as the player, that gives you time to react to scourge conqueror, sort of say, do I need to become independent? Do I need to do something else? If I am independent, should I become a tributary of the scourge conqueror? Or if there are multiple scourge conquerors, which one should I pick? Or become their vassal? It gives you some time in terms of what you want to do. But here, you don't really have that amount of time, at least at the beginning, because all of Europe is divided among these various carlings. Yeah, I think she's so good with her stewardship and learning. What is recruiter anyway? Okay. There we go. And so, the Holy Roman Empire effectively acts as a sort of, speed bump or something that slows down scourge conquerors. It just doesn't exist here. And so those are 2 issues. The third issue is that scourge conquerors are even more random on the 867 start date than the other dates. Part of that is because there are a lot more tribal holdings, and tribal rulers are more likely to become scourge conquerors than feudal. And we also see, the Vikings, you have many powerful Vikings. Usually some Viking becomes a scourge conqueror. I'm not sure which one. Often, almost Arpad here becomes a scourge conqueror. Not always, but it's quite frequent. Then you can have Muslim scourge conquerors. Alfred the Great often becomes a scourge conqueror. You could have one of these Slovanski and become a scourge conqueror. So you're going to have a whole bunch of scourge conquerors, and you just sort of guess, well, which one is going to win? Which one should I side with? It becomes quite challenging from that perspective, and if you pick wrong, you very easily lose all the land you have. And so 867 is more challenging in that Europe seems to have more scourge conquerors than the other two start dates. The other two start dates, often there's one, maybe two scourge conquerors in Europe you really need to worry about. But here, it's a lot more frequent that you need to worry about even more. And so all those are the reasons why. Okay, there's the baggage train we'll build. All those are the reasons why 867, in my opinion, is the most difficult start date for this hardest possible rule set. So let's talk a little bit about our character here. So we are playing in Europe again, just a personal preference. You can see he's Dutch. We made him Dutch because the Dutch have a number of powerful economic, cultural traditions. For example, maritime mercantilism allows trade ports to be built an era early, very powerful. Agrarian, you get more development growth, get building cost reduction. Parochialism, have to be careful with this because of the cities lowering control gain, but you see they also have a lot of benefits in terms of tax settlements, levies. So we'll want to get up to 2 cities, no more than that with parochialism. You get more than that, and it really starts hurting your control. And here you get other benefits from polders, so just a quite a large number. We'll also very strongly consider getting industrious, which is one of my favorite cultural traditions. Partly we just have to see how things develop and where we get land. One thing we can do is I think a lot of the Dutch lands are held by someone of a different culture, specifically this guy who is Norse, and that allows us, assuming he stays there, to champion the Dutch culture here. And so you can see, he's not Dutch. That gives us this ability to do that, depending on, satisfying all of these other requirements. Particularly, we need to get our level of fame up, and it'd be even better if we could get, fulfill some of these other requirements here. We'll have to see about doing that. Our plan is eventually to buy some land. But while we're doing that, let's talk about a little bit more about our character here. In addition to being Dutch, our general plan for him is really want to make as much gold as we possibly can. It's just that simple. And basic idea is by having a whole lot of gold, we'll effectively be able to jumpstart our economy, put ourselves in a better situation than if we started as a landed character. And as we play through the game, we'll see the various opportunities that we have with this particular stewardship character to get more gold. Some of the particular perks, some of them I've already pointed out, and just generally being able to build up our treasury here. So for this decision, you know, if they want to be friends, happy to do that. But our overall plan here is we're just going to do contracts, build up as much gold as we can, and then when we get the opportunity, we are going to build some whole holdings using the decision I displayed earlier. Specifically this one. We can found holdings and they pay us rents each year, which can be quite powerful. Really build up the amount of gold that we can get. Using that, the idea is we'll be able to buy some land somewhere. And buy land somewhere is itself quite powerful. Because again, we're going to see a lot of scourge conquerors over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years really reshape the map of Europe. If we were a landed character, we'd be at severe risk of losing our lands wherever they were. As a landless character, we sort of float all above that. We can see how the map settles out to some extent, and then pick whatever we think looks like the best area. Could be Holland, could be somewhere else. I'm going to check here just to see how much. Okay, so we need 350. Okay, that's good to know. Just wanted to see how much that would cost to go to university. Certainly something we'll want to do eventually, but it's a matter of time. So stewardship and learning aren't available here. Transport contracts, often you get a lot of gold from them, so we'll go with that. Again, we'll do our standard, go to your story, see who's recruitment. You have to pay for all these. I think we're okay with not going for them. Just see if anyone else here. Probably can't get anyone for free. Have other things to do with our money at the moment. So we'll turn on Scout for talent here. We do have most of our officer slots open, so this could be an easy way to get more people. Looks like we are going through some dangerous areas. I guess we should hire some mountaineers because we're going through the Alps. The Alps can be very dangerous. You often get events that basically cause one of your entourage members to die. So we don't want to do that. I guess we should probably appoint a caravan master. That guy looks good. Go there. Our chances of winning this duel are very low, but we can see if Tybalt can do it. But he did not. This guy, I think I'll be happy to pay him in food and clothes. Be our steward. You see, again, he's a good martial and prowess character. Not really our focus, but helps to have him for the reasons we talked about earlier, which is that we may want to do righteousness contracts to become the Knight of the Swan. So now, oh, we don't have, pretty sure I need 240 gold for this is what we want next, is bartering ground. You can see stewardship contract rewards plus 50%, monthly stewardship lifestyle experience plus 25%, so that's extremely powerful for our character. That's really the building we want, but we need a little more gold. Guess we'll take this artifact. It is quite helpful. Obviously, we're going to be doing a lot of traveling, so guess we can go with this guy as our second. Need someone in that position. Now we will continue on here. Again, organization, that's what we're focused on, so happy to do that. See if we can get some provisions for free. Don't want to sell any artifacts. Do want to hear some stories. Really getting options for quite older companions that we could recruit. Probably see if we can wait a little bit and get someone a bit younger. I probably should have fixed my travel options there. To not spend that 4 gold, that's okay. Since we just got back, everything in the camp is going to be on, everything in the holding is going to be on cooldown, so no reason to visit it. Let's check here if there's anyone who will give us lots of gold. I'm guessing not, but you never know. It's very early in the game, so I'm guessing most rulers, their gold has not built up. Even though we are playing on very hard, and they will get more gold over time. So just going for the highest chance success here. I think let's take the prestige. A lot of things like buying land depend in part on your prestige, and so that's why I want the prestige instead of the piety. I should say more specifically depend on your level of fame, which in turn depends on how much prestige you've earned. Okay. Usually for that one, I just let the other person eat it in case it turns out to have a health penalty. Rather not have a health penalty myself. We should have just enough money to get bartering grounds. Again, just very useful. Our next option is likely going to be to increase our baggage train here and then go for loyal scribes, which has a similar bonuses for learning contracts, giving us plus 50% for our rewards for those. Okay, so still on cooldown there. I think we'll perform this transport contract. Some danger at the end there, but not too bad. We'll scout for talent again. I think we'll just go. We'll just go with this and cross our fingers. Nothing too bad happens at the end over there. Where, okay, looks like interesting. Looks like Haston, who is normally over there in Brittany. Oh, he took over Brittany. Okay, fair enough. Yep. I will eventually play Haston. I think what he did right here may very well be what I will do, which is just take over Brittany. There are some challenges to playing Haston on these hardest possible difficulty levels, some limitations in what you can do. Playing in hell mode compared to normal, but obviously that's all to be talked about future when I'm actually playing him instead of this landless stewardship character. So let's keep the focus on what we're doing here, and we'll save hasten for another day. Now the cooldowns should be reset. So we visit the castle holding again. Don't want to be a criminal. I guess martial duties are the best here. Not great. Again, we'll try to get some free provisions. We got a little. Hear our story. She has a good martial, but not much else. Only 12 gold. I guess it's worth having her. Some of these are quite good. They're also quite expensive. We'll try to build up our gold first and get the improvements that allow us to increase the amount of gold we get from contracts, before we get a whole bunch of, or spend a lot of gold on getting camp followers. Let's see here. How frequently can we do camp revelry? Okay, 3 more months. Okay. So in terms of our character's traits, do want to talk about those. I picked diligent because I simply love diligent. It's +8 stats, very powerful. Temperate, let's see, it's a virtue. You get 2 more stewardship, small health boost. It's also very strong. I did give a struggle quite a bit on what the third personality trait for him would be. Ultimately, you can see I picked patient. That's because it has increase in learning, which again, stewardship and learning would be our 2 primary skills for the contract, since we're a scholar camp. And then also, patient gives some special benefits if you're agrarian, as the Dutch are, and so that was the rationale there. A little bit of a bug there. See that these prowess contracts really taking quite a bit longer. I guess that's not surprising. Taking longer than our stewardship and learning contracts. So again, we really want high stakes bartering. Very useful in terms of getting a lot more gold, which is our goal here. So not a great follower, but someone we could get. Doesn't cost that much, so we'll go with her. Yeah, I think for a lot of these, probably is better off, demanding payment instead of trying to doing a request interaction on them. Yeah. Yeah, it's actually quite useful there to get all that gold. Now we will upgrade our baggage. Well, I guess we could do a camp revelry first, and then we'll upgrade the baggage train before we do any of that. Let's even visit the holding again. So it looks like scholarly work it is. do want to look to see if we can find someone who would make a good wife, which my definition is someone who has good genetic intelligence traits, ideally either intelligent or genius, though those are probably going to be hard to find, so we may just have to go with someone who is quick, but want to get those intelligence genetic traits, into our bloodlines as soon as we can. Okay, now we will do a camp revelry. Don't think we can increase anything. Nope. Okay. Camp revelry also helps keep our camp opinion up so that we are closer to being steadfast. Trying to see where it shows where the overall camp opinion is. I'm sure it's somewhere, but I don't know where. So I should probably just start swaying some people as well. I'm guessing at the moment we're not actually have a high enough camp opinion yet. But if you do have a high overall camp opinion, that increases the speed at which you complete contracts, which is very useful. See, upgrading camp revelry is quite powerful as well. We're starting on a relatively low level here, but we'll see what we can do. We will, I think we'll go for the prestige. Talking about really want to increase our level of fame to the extent we can. All right, let's do some of these learning contracts here. Also want to increase the level of our baggage train. Yeah, we just don't have very good chances on that top one. So we'll just make our mediocre transcript and be done with it. So again, here I don't think there's any so just going for the highest percentage here. Almost certainly going to be using our stewardship for each of these since it is our highest skill. Yep, we'll go paying, we can pay in full. Here we'll visit the castle holding. Use up our hooks here to get more gold. Okay, we'll get the Justicar contracts. Takes us quite a while to do those, but still helpful in terms of eventually getting Knight of the Swan. Go with the second option here, so I don't have to spend any gold. And that guy is pretty good, but quite expensive. All right. Again, I think at this point of the game, it's probably better to cash in our hooks than use them for other purposes. Certainly, if we were swords for hire, we were military focused, we'd probably be trying to get men at arms, but that's not really the point of this character. I should say one other thing about this character that I think is interesting is that often when I play landless, or when you see other YouTubers play landless, it's almost always as a military character. Sometimes as an explorer, but you rarely see scholars, and so hopefully this will be a bit of a play style that you don't necessarily see quite as often. I think as you can see here, it's not radically different than other landless adventures. You're still really focused on completing contracts, but the contracts are a bit different, and overall, what we're trying to do with perks and so forth is also a bit different. For that prior decision, certainly didn't want to become a drunkard, so just take the extra stress. I assume that we can't visit the castle holding. That hasn't reset yet. It does not. Let's see here. This will probably take a while, but we'll go ahead and do one of these righteousness contracts. See, I usually just do a balanced approach. Now we are the shrewd. Okay, that's fine. Again, we'll just, I guess it's very little stress to lose. We'll just do this bottom one here. Rather not lose any prestige. I don't want them to kill each other, so I guess we'll intervene. So you see we're getting quite a bit of gold here, but our baggage train. Now we want to build loyal scribes here. See, learning contract rewards plus 50% also increases our learning. That's both good things. Usually I try to get close to 100% up here before firing the contract. Okay, happy to get 2 more prowess. Okay. Not sure this matters too much. All right. So continuing on here, now we have high stakes bartering. Now the main question will be, will I be competent enough to make sure that high stakes bartering is always on wherever we travel, because we will want it on. That gives us significant amounts of gold. Again, we'll be visiting the castle holding here, looking for more contracts. Organization. Probably always want to do organization if it's available. Go by fire. Let's see here what's available. Okay, go complete this scheme. All right, so we have those 2. Again, we'll just go balanced here. I almost always go balanced. We can go to speed 5. probably tell I'm generally a speed 4 and pause player, but go up to speed 5 for completing these contracts. See if there's anyone who might have lots of gold for me. I'm guessing not. Let's just check. Yeah, quite limited in terms of what's available for requesting an interaction. Let's see here. Visiting a castle holding just to see everything's still on cooldown. That's okay. We have just curious how much, you know, these fight corruption contracts often pay a lot of gold, but they're really mostly useful if you have, you know, men-at-arms that you can use. Otherwise, you have to start leaving your camp followers there, which very quickly deplete your camp followers. So, all right, I'm almost messed up already. Okay, so I always want, you know, these two things on. High stakes bartering does have the significant negative in that it does reduce your safety, but still quite useful in terms of getting more gold. Here, I'd like to have this guy join our court. Not been very successful in treating our camp followers here. So next thing that I want to do here is a supply tent. Again, this is less of a supply tent itself, though it's a fine building, but there's, you know, a sub building underneath it that further improves stewardship contracts, and that's really what we're trying to get there. I think we have another camp revelry coming up, so can use that to get rid of the amount of stress we currently have. Well, I guess we'll see if we can. Oh, good, he did join. Okay. Obviously, the chances of that weren't great, but did work out for us. So let's. Okay, we can also humiliate the stooge to lose a bit of stress. So I think scholarly work. You know, the transport was also a reasonable option, but I think learning really goes to our core competency, or I guess our secondary competency at least. Again, do a camp revelry. I don't think we can increase anything at the moment. Again, you know, camp revelry is quite useful. Okay, good for that one. You know, I think it was worth a chance to try to become a hunter. See if we can get the prestige, but we did not, despite having a relatively high chance. Happens. Huh. I guess it's a pretty useful regalia. Yeah, alright. So this is what we want here, more monthly stewardship lifestyle experience. Driven sutlers. You know, so you also have some other benefits. Right, take one of these learning contracts. Pay her in food. Again, I think it's better to try to be exhaustive. We can really leverage our stewardship. Unlucky there. I think we had 3 successes out of 4. So 4 or 5, so that should work quite well. See here about visiting the castle again. So we don't want criminal, don't want intrigue. We'll go with transport. See if we can get some free supplies. We did not. Don't want to become a gallows bait. Is it worth getting her for 60 gold? I guess. It's a bit cheaper than normal, but still a lot of gold, really. I'll do the sparring here. That's available. See. Assume we're too late. Yeah. That's still useful to go to grand tournaments. This character is not going to be as good at them as if he were a martial character with a high prowess, but still worth doing if we can. Instead, we will take this learning contract. Again, scout for talent, high stakes bartering. We'll make sure those are always on. Again, just go for the longer book. Given our stewardship, we should be able to generally be successful and not so good at that one, but still okay. Still counts as being successful. Now I think we will do these transport contracts. Okay. So this one, we're going to be going over the mountains. Try to keep high stakes bartering, but we really want to reduce the mountains danger, so we'll go with the Pathfinder's gear. Again, the Alps are just really dangerous for some reason. I think that's what we want to go here. I think after we do this, my plan will be we'll visit the holding as we often do, and then I want to go to university. Once we do that, I think that'll be good for the episode. You can see here we're already getting a nice chunk of gold. Let's see if we could get him to join. We did not, unfortunately. But yeah, I think overall things are going to plan. It is going to take a bit of time for us to build up, but ideally my plan is by the time our character is 50 or so, I think that would be the time where we want to see if we can buy some land or otherwise acquire it. Don't really want either of those options. I guess we'll just go to university first. Again, try to get some free provisions and then just do everything else here. By the time I'm 30, then I think really get serious about looking for a wife. Till then, hopefully it won't be too much of a concern. We are, again, because we're playing on the hardest possible rule set, especially because we have Doomsday level plague. It's always possible our character dies and we get a very quick game over because we don't currently have an heir, but hopefully that doesn't happen. Surprised Clooney isn't available, but okay. Guess we will go to Canterbury. Because we're crossing the ocean, we want experienced captains. Study hard. Go for the maximum level here. Try to get up to being a 5-star steward. And if not, at least get some more perks. Let's also see here about our buildings. Yeah, don't quite have enough to build second level of the pavilion, so we'll just hold off for now. So camp tax is good. Again, looking for whatever increases our studiousness the most, so long as it doesn't generate an unreasonable amount of stress. So really want to get up there as high as we can to get as many additional perks as we can and have the highest chance of becoming a golden sovereign, which is the 5-star stewardship education. So it's expensive, but I think let's do it. It did get us up to level 2. I think we can also change up who we're swaying here. There's our camp followers. I mean, it's a 2 in 3 chance. I guess let's try it. And we got it. Excellent. Now, if we can just get one more event to push us up to 4, that would be great, but it's not going to happen. It is going to happen. There we go. So, unfortunately, we did not become a golden sovereign, but that's okay. Interesting. What do we want between these two? I guess the extra prestige. And we'll get on the road and then see how it's done. Obviously get more gold for visiting points of interest. That's what we want. Then I think we will come back over here. I mean, you get what you pay for. Obviously, very strong. This has some good stuff as well. Oh yeah, I guess so. To complete both of these trees, I think, as is often the case, administrator is less powerful. But anyway, we'll see. Did finally manage to cure one of my camp followers. Check out. Oh, we aren't even don't even have the traveler trait yet. Kind of surprising. Okay, we will visit the castle holding. Again, we're stewardship, so we'll go with organization. See if we can get some more provisions. Oh my, who is that? Who is this 74-year-old hideous fragile-boned woman? Who could it be? Just amazing. I guess if we can get her for free, why not? Oh, I failed to entice her. What a loss. Oh, CK3. Just some quite unusual events sometimes. Okay, so I think we will call this episode here. Thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you in the next episode. Thanks very much. Goodbye.